Welcome to Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and a dash of hope collide nightly like a Trevor Story strikeout. We cover every loss, every meltdown, and yes, even the rare win, with brutally honest takes and zero front office fluff. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or risk being left out in the cold like a home game in April. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I'm your host tonight, Jim Dalfino. Now, before we get rolling, let's be honest. Me hosting this show is like the Red Sox bullpen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it blows up, but either way, someone's probably yelling. Joining me tonight is Nick Face, the only man who can turn a simple Red Sox loss into a Supreme Court case. This guy hates losing so much, he argues with strangers on Twitter the way most people argue with Comcast customer service. His feed is like a live courtroom transcript. Exhibit A, missed the strike zone. Exhibit B, fire everyone. Nick's the only person I know who can get ratioed and still declare victory. Honestly, if passion were wins, the Sox would have clinched in June. Also joining us tonight is Thayer Doyle, the Irish principle of fundamentals. This guy runs his life like it's a Red Sox spring training drill. If the Sox made a bad relay throw, Thayer's already diagramming the cutoff man on a chalkboard. He's probably the only parent in Massachusetts handing out progress reports for base running at Little League. And he's got that mix of dad energy and Irish intensity that makes you feel like you're in trouble even when you're not. I half expect him to give the bullpen detention for not covering first base. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox now sit 81-66 on the season, 3.5 games behind the front-running Toronto Blue Jays. The Sox currently have a magic number of 12, so any combination of Red Sox wins and Texas Rangers losses, and we are in. Let's recap today's ball game. Bottom of the first, Shea Langeliers steps up and immediately reminds the Sox that pitching is optional, launching his 30th bomb like he's in the home run derby. Sox trailing 1-0, and we're already reaching for the Tums. Top second, Masataka Yoshida scores on Nate Eaton's double, but let's be honest, it was a pop-up that bounced around like a pinball machine because Oakland's defense is allergic to confidence. Sox tie it up 1-1. Then, Jarren Duran whiffs like he's trying to swap mosquitoes. Bottom two, Nick Kurtz decides he wants to match Langeliers' energy and cranks his own 30th homer. Sox pitching staff, don't worry, everyone gets one. Now it's 2-1 A's, and Boston fans are Googling how to sue your team for emotional damages. Top three, Trevor Story doubles in Alex Bregman to tie it again. For one brief shining moment, Sox fans think, hey, maybe tonight won't be so bad. Spoiler, it gets worse. Top four, Connor Wong singles, Eaton scoots to third, and then Jarren Duran grounds out, but somehow drives in a run. And the Sox take a 3-2 lead. Bottom five, this is where the wheels come off. Rooker doubles, Soderstrom pinch hitting slaps a 2-run double like he's trying out for the 27 Yankees. Lawrence Butler tries to score, but gets hosed at the plate because Oakland needs to be reminded they're the A's. Then top nine, David Hamilton sneaks a single, but gets caught stealing because apparently Sox treat base running like a dare. Narvaez walks, and Refsnyder doubles in to tie the game at 4-4. Duran strikes out again. If there were frequent flyer miles for whiffs, that man would own JetBlue. Bottom of the ninth, Langeliers doubles, Butler singles him home, and that's it. A's walk it off 5-4. Boston loses to a team that couldn't draw a crowd, even if they were giving away free beer and Taylor Swift tickets. Sox pitchers gave up 230 home runs, like Oprah's giving out cars. You get a milestone dinger, you get a milestone dinger. Jarren Duran, 2 strikeouts in clutch spots. I'd rather see a toddler swinging a pool noodle. The Red Sox losing to the A's is like losing a rap battle to your grandmother. And now, let's start off with Nick Face's word of the day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's word of the day.
sorry, there was a game this afternoon. I think that's what I look at the Red Sox at, because it was a sleepy, lethargic effort yet again for a team that is fighting for their dear life to be alive here in this playoff run. Sleepy, lethargic, put your feet up, don't have to worry about it, getaway game. How many times have we seen this crap over and over and over again? I guess you can say on the positive here on this trip, the Arizona Diamondbacks last game that you faced, they did get the last game of the series win. Unfortunately, they lost 2 to start that series. This was an unacceptable trip, guys. A very unacceptable trip against an Arizona Diamondbacks team that is nowhere near a playoff berth, and your Sacramento A's, who they have maybe some talent. Nick Kurtz, likely the rookie of the year, but you should have beat this. You should have beat them all 3 games wholeheartedly. The biggest takeaway from me over this series against the A's was Conway early. That was absolutely awesome to see what he did last night. I wish they kept him out for the 6th to see if he could get that strikeout record for a rookie that was throwing. They didn't. I get it, because he was already high in his pitch count. But it was a very positive start for a guy that was in AAA, and all the hype that we heard about him was that he would be somebody that the Red Sox could count on. I didn't know if he was going to get that opportunity, but obviously with Dustin May going down, I think all of us here would much rather see Conley early throw versus a Dustin May or even a Peyton Tolley right now. I was not happy with Peyton Tolley yet again. A lot of hype. Had a good first start at Fenway, but the last 2 have been clunkers. They fire away. There's really no secret on what is getting thrown there. I guess we got to look at some more development into next season on what it's going to look like for him. But overall, I'm left unsatisfied. I'm left feeling the same way I did when we did this pod on Monday night, talking about my stance on where this team is at. I get it. It's a numbers game right now. We got to root for the Texas Rangers to lose here, and now you got the Yankees and everything, which you've had the upper hand with in the AL East. But the problem here is that I still see way too many flaws for this to still be considered a decent shot here for the playoffs. Could they get in? Just barely. Like I said again on Monday, I don't love this team. I don't love this roster assembled right now. I hate that Roman Anthony's not a part of this. You just don't know what you're going to get on a day-by-day basis with this team. And today, they came up short. I can't blame Chapman. I can't. Chapman's been absolutely nails. It's inevitable. It was bound to happen at some point. I'm glad he got it out of his way. Let's get him bounced back. My player that I put full blame on here is a guy who has one job on this roster: to steal a base. David Hamilton. I'm done. I don't give a crap anymore. I want his bags packed. I don't want him boarding the plane back to Boston. Leave him there. Because you would have taken the lead in this game had Hamilton not got thrown out in the 9th inning trying to steal a base. He has no business being caught on bases. None. David Hamilton blew yet another game here for the Red Sox because the guy can't do his friggin' job. I'm done. I don't want to see him again. Infuriating.
Yeah, I wanted to get into Hamilton a little bit as we went along tonight, but just to kind of like give the viewers and listeners a little thing to think about. So Hamilton over this series did get his 20th stolen base, but he's got 6 caught stealings. 6 caught stealings for a guy with his speed and his athleticism. It doesn't really strike me as a really good guy that can steal bags. I mean, it's one thing to have speed, but it's another thing to be a good base stealer as well. You look at Trevor Story, and Thayer, I know you're probably going to allude on this. Trevor Story may not have the best speed on the team, but he is a smart base runner. What's your opening takes and reactions there?
We'll get to the Hamilton stuff, and I absolutely agree with you, and we'll talk more about that. You know how I feel. But overall, I this team is going to make the playoffs. Their pitching staff, the front is too good not to. With Bayo, Giolito, and Crochet, plus the back end, they're going to get enough. With 15 games left, you go 8-7, or 7. You can even go 7-8, and still it requires the Rangers to get there. You can get those 7. You're going to have your top 3 guys go at least 3 more times each. They should get you those 7 wins. You'll probably backdoor into another one like you should have backdoored into one today. Connolly early, like Nick was saying, phenomenal performance, but totally had a phenomenal performance in his first start as well. I don't trust him to do that again. However, I'm happy that he did it. I don't see them using him all that much as we move forward. My guess is they're going to sort of limit him, just like they're going to limit Tolley because he's dealing with innings limits and sort of pitch numbers. So I don't see him helping us so much, nor do I see Tolley helping us so much getting to the playoffs. In the playoffs, that might be a whole different story. But the problem is they're all left-handed. We only have one right-handed pitcher out of the bullpen we can rely on, and that's Whitlock. The rest of them, who knows? Slaten, we'll get to him a little bit later. He's got to work himself into it. I'm disappointed in the results today, but I understand he's still trying to get back. Ultimately, what today comes down to is the same thing that the whole year has come down to, is their inability to move runners and to make productive outs. They are a team that we've talked about all season long, being very inconsistent and being a team that really has to get involved as a whole contagious team. When they all hit, or when a few of them hit, they all hit. And when none of them hit, none of them hit at all. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it with this team. But again, today, the first inning, you had a man on leadoff double, you get him to third base, you don't score him. Now, granted, and I'm going to nitpick now because I'm considering this the playoffs and everything matters. And that goes into coaching, that goes into performances. When you see the center fielder coming in on the ball, yes, there's something to be said about, all right, he's coming in, he's going to get a good throw. But you also have to see how he's coming in. The center fielder was coming in at mock speed because he got a bad read. He was not coming in under control. He was coming in at mock speed to ensure that he caught the ball, which means he's not going to be under control to make a good throw. You have the fastest base runner on your team. You take the chance there. You have to score, especially knowing that you have Tolley going, who's only going to give you a few innings, and then you have to work your bullpen. This team plays from ahead. They struggle when they play from behind. There's no reason to do that. That's one. Second inning, Jim, you're right. They got the gift bloop double off the run, but then they squandered it again. Second and third with one out, and Wong can't deliver the run. And then Duran gets that strikeout. And Nick, again, that pitch in his eyes, oh my God, if he swings at another pitch in his eyes again, it's just going to drive me crazy. The third inning, we get the big hit by Story, which saved that inning. But again, it was another squander. Lowe was up on the man on third base with less than 2 outs and did not get the run in. That's 3. 4, the fourth inning, we had another one, where we have an issue with Duran getting struck out. Bregman can't produce when we have a man on third base. Absolutely mind-blowing. We know this is our roster. Anthony's, we're not going to see him probably again if we're lucky in the playoffs. We have Bregman, we have Story, and everybody else is just a cog in the wheel. They have to stop trying to hit 3-run bombs with nobody on base. Put the ball in play, move the runner. Fly balls are absolutely useless. All these like Wong and Hamilton and even Duran hitting these little pop-ups. Stop. Put the ball on the ground. Trevor Story looks like an absolute Hall of Famer compared to the rest of these guys because at least he is using his brain and he's an intelligent ball player. He's moving the ball side to side. He probably should have had another hit. That second baseman made an incredible play to save him, but credit to Story. He's a positive. That's the reason. I can't believe I'm saying it. The Red Sox are going to go to to the playoffs because of Bregman, but even more so because of Story.
Yeah, I mean, they're very limited in the amount of actual baseball players they have. They have athletes, but outside of Bregman, Refschneider,
It's up
Trevor
here.
Story, and Nathaniel Lowe, they're head cases. Kabadost.
They don't. They just don't have the intelligence and baseball IQ
No,
to
they don't.
understand fundamental baseballs, whether it's hitting, whether it's fielding, and even some of the pitchers. There is no IQ. They don't have awareness of what is going on. Situational baseball is just not something the Red Sox teach, and is a philosophical thing that they say, screw this, I guess. Just go up there and swat at it.
The Red Sox are going to make the playoffs in spite of the Red Sox. That's my statement of the month. Maybe of the season. Okay? I know we have Nick Face's word of the day, but this is the statement of the season. The Red Sox are going to make the playoffs in spite of the Red Sox. And let me explain a couple reasons how I deduce that. Craig Breslow put a team together that should not be in the position they're in. He is a leprechaun in this situation of luck, because when you look at how many started, and Nick Diamond brought this up yesterday, I think we've had 12 or 13 people start for this team. Some of them are on other teams pitching against us, like Sean Newcomb today. So it's been absolutely mind-boggling how lucky he is to be in the position that he's in. When you have a roster construction where you have 3 guys making their Red Sox debut in September for a team that is playoff bound, you start saying to yourself, what are we doing here? All right. And then it's Dustin May out of the rotation, into the rotation. No, we're not going to start him. Let's put him on a phantom IL and say he had an MRI done. And let's bring up another one. Let's try Connolly early, who I'm not taking anything away from the outing. We needed an outing like that. But when you look at what Peyton Tolley has been doing, and I know everybody was giddy on Twitter that we got the next, I don't know, Randy Johnson, for crying out loud. 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 home runs. I think I'm done with Peyton Tolley right now. I don't know about you guys, but he's doing absolutely nothing for me. He had 1 good outing. I don't know where it goes from here. Is he going to be in the bullpen and be your David Price from 2008? And we brought that up in the past. But now the Red Sox are telling you that they don't have the confidence either, in my opinion, because they finally brought up Kyle Missing Harrison. I mean, it's unbelievable. He had a great outing today, too. 3 innings pitched, I think it was. I was working, but the bottom line here is that he looked just as good as anybody else in their first outing. So, I know we said in the Situation Room, Nick, you asked a question and said, what's the next start going to be like for early? And Thayer, I think you responded, it's going to be a battle for who has the shittiest second outing. So who the hell knows where that's going to go? I do want to switch the page a little bit to some of the offense. Romy Gonzalez got injured in yesterday's game. Apparently it was a knee injury, seemed upbeat after the post-game interview. Thayer, I'll start with you. There is absolutely no way in God's green earth we can afford to have him down any period of time because we just don't have the players. That's the number one thing.
Did you ever believe you would be saying that on September, 10th?
It's true.
That, oh my God, what are we going to do without Romy Gonzalez? And that is, it's a truth. It's where we're at. And like you said, thank you, Breslow. We're here because of you and your inability to put together a roster that has reliable people. It sort of goes back to, Jim, what you were talking about, why we have to throw Tolley, why we have to throw early. The reason we're doing this is because Breslow is basically closing his eyes and throwing darts, and things aren't working. That's what it is. This guy stinks. That guy stinks. I'm going to try this guy. Oh, Harrison, he might be hurt. I don't know. He's got no idea what's going on. And that's why Romy Gonzalez injuries and Anthony injuries and Abreu injuries are just devastating things. And there's no professionals. That's, I say that. One, there's not many professionals on the team, and there haven't been all year long. Really, besides Ref Snyder, Bregman, and now you have Lowe and you have Story. There's not too many of those professionals on the team. And then you have even fewer professionals in the minor leagues. You think about what we've done and people that we've sort of brought up in the past. And, getting back to you talking about Hamilton, I know it's sacrilege to consider 2004, but Dave Roberts was a professional. Dave Roberts knew what he was doing. You watch all the videos, and even at the time, he said, I knew I had to steal that base. And I was brought up in a system where they told me, there's going to be a time when everybody in the ballpark knows you're going, and you have to be safe. And you have to learn how to do it that way. And that's what these guys aren't doing. And that's why Romy's knee injury, and I hope he seems upbeat about it, but at the same time, I don't trust the Red Sox in any way, shape, or form. Abreu was supposed to be back 2 weeks ago. He's now maybe running. So I hope this isn't a serious knee injury, because we're going to be stuck with Hamilton. And I know we'll get to that later. I want to bash on Hamilton too.
Nick, Romy Gonzalez, your thoughts on him?
Well, did either of you see my tweet last night on what I tweeted before he went down with the injury? I said Romy Gonzalez has been the Red Sox Swiss Army knife for this season. I think that is the best way to define everything that this guy has done. He's played second, he's played first, and he has become an anchor and somebody that you can count on in this lineup to give you solid production. I mean, he's been a left-handed masher, but you've even seen him being able to get the job done against right-handed pitching. He's just been a professional guy who's doing his job at a rate that all of us going into this season would have said, what, are you kidding me? Romy Gonzalez, you're going to bat him fourth? You're going to really do that? That guy's really going to do that this season? Well, here we are. Romy Gonzalez being down is a catastrophe for this team. There's another word of the day, catastrophe, because that's what it is. It ruins your lineup right now, because Romy can give you solid contact no matter what it is. He can put the ball in play, and he can manufacture a run.
He can run too.
Doing something positive at the plate. He has the wheels and everything too. I am concerned on this, much like with Thayer. I do get concerned on this, because we've seen the same thing with some of these guys. Oh, they'll be fine, just a couple days down. If this is a week or two, you can't afford that. You can't. So I don't really know what they're going to do. They're going to have to count on more of Nick Sogar, I guess. But I'm not even going to say what you said earlier and counting on another player. I'm not doing it anymore. If that man is in the lineup anymore, there is a serious problem with the Red Sox organization. Serious problem. Because I'm done. The chances are over. He could go 3 for 4 his next game, DH, and I'd still hate his guts. I'm done. I am absolutely done.
There is a serious problem with the Red Sox organization.
Oh, I know there is.
We know that.
I mean the amount of chances this guy gets. This guy gets more lives than a cat with 9 lives. He gets more chances. It is sickening.
Yep. Changing gears a little bit, I want to go back to David Hamilton, because this guy makes me nauseous. Okay, I can't get enough of how much. I don't know who I hate more on this 2025 team. It's a toss-up between Tristan Casas, who's not even here, David Hamilton, and Masataka Yoshida. I mean, I'm giving Tristan Casas points on the hate meter when he's not even here, because I just can't stand the guy so much. And if I see that goddamn commercial with Wally any fucking more, I swear to God, I'm going to throw my shoe through the damn television.
You know it's heated. It's heated when the big words come out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks, but you know what? It's in a balloon, or maybe it's a spaceman. I'm so sick and tired of that goddamn commercial. Anyway, back to David Hamilton. This guy can't play baseball. I'm sorry. I've been watching baseball. Thayer and I have been watching baseball for almost a combined 80-something years. Okay? I don't think I've ever seen a guy play worse than I could play. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. I don't know what he does right, except for that sneaky power that Lou Merlone tries to throw at us every couple
It's a
games.
weapon.
You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. The guy's here to steal a bag. You can't do it. I mean, that play today, I mean, it's like, can you swim? Can you kind of move? Can you try to avoid a damn tag, dude? I mean, it's like, what is going on? Thayer, what is wrong with him?
Okay, so I'll lead with this. We've talked about it with Duran. We've talked about it with other players. David Hamilton is an elite athlete. He is a subpar baseball player. He doesn't understand, and I blame a lot of this on the coaching. So we're sitting there in the ninth inning and we're watching it, and he's on first base, and you're down a run, and you bring up Narvaez, and I'm thinking, we're going. Here we go. And they're talking about the leg kick. So he doesn't go on the first pitch, and the guy throws a ball. All right. We got a good grip on this guy. You know he's got the high leg kick. Maybe we're going to go on the second pitch, or maybe we're just going to, he's just getting a piece of it. My thoughts on this is you go first pitch, or you go when the count is in sort of his favor a little bit. If he had thrown strike one, I go instantly on this next pitch because there's a very good chance he's going to throw some sort of off-speed pitch or something like that. He throws ball one. Okay, we're sitting, we're waiting, we're going to judge him a little bit more. We go to ball two. All right, fantastic. This is where, as the coach, you go to your batter, Narvaez, do not swing. You take another pitch because this guy is all over the place. And what do? You sort of tell your runner, hold on. Because when it's 2-0, what are you going to see, everybody? Fastballs. Because the guy doesn't want to. So he's throwing a fastball. So let's run. Okay, stupid. Not only does he run, he gets a bad jump. Stupid. He gets thrown out. Okay, that's that issue. So there's one. The other piece to this, and we'll sort of go back to it, is the inning where we gave up the lead. There was a man dead to rights at second base, out by 5 feet. And he somehow does the swim move at second base because Hamilton cannot tag him. It's a tie game with that double if that man is out. But he doesn't make the tag. Earlier on in the game, he comes up.
There's that smile. There it is.
And I'm going to give him credit. He moved the runner over with the slow ground ball to first base. But he had to move the runner over with a slow ground ball to first base because he was asked to sacrifice bunt again. And what's he do? He tries to push it late down the third base line. I don't understand how a person with his skill set is incapable of bunting, of doing the little things. He's there to steal, to run, to bunt, and to play defense. And today, he failed at all three of them. And it seems like it's a small thing, but we're talking playoff baseball now. It's important to do all of these things. And when they do it wrong, it's going to cost them. And we saw that today. We lost this game to an inferior ball club because they were incapable of doing those things that are necessary to win. And God help us what's going to happen in the playoffs.
I'm sorry, but it's just one of those things. Maybe Hamilton needs my glasses to figure out what he's doing. I don't know. You got that picture of him with glasses there. I mean, maybe he needs to go back to them. Nick, your thoughts on your favorite player, David Hamilton?
Oh, I don't know who is worse right now in my life, David Hamilton or Jaron. Athletes. Are they baseball players? Nope. Don't have it. Thayer, I am glad that you brought up the positioning play on David Hamilton as well in this ball game, because for a guy that's also, he can come in as our defensive replacement. Don't worry. We can put him at second. He's fine. He'll do the job. No, he won't. Completely out of position, and that's what also led to the fifth inning being a catastrophe as well. He can't field. He can't hit. Can't run bases. What good are you? What good are you? I want to knock the friggin' smirk right out of his face is what I want to do. He's probably laughing his butt off right now on the plane ride back to, it's all good. Ha ha ha, look at me. I didn't make my play. I didn't steal the base. Ha ha ha, everything's all just great.
Yeah, what's he laughing at second base there?
That's something.
He thinks it's a joke. He thinks it's a joke.
I knew there was a third thing. There was a routine double play.
If he wants another profession, go be a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Go on America's Got Talent, dude. Get out of my life.
A routine double play. Ground ball hit to him. I think it was a little later on in the game. I think they managed to get out of it. Men on first and second, a routine double play to him. And instead of pivoting and throwing, he took his time and he did a quarterback lateral to Story coming across, and the runner beat it at first base. Again, it's a small thing, but those are the things they need to do because they are not talented enough to beat you otherwise. If they don't play their A game, they're done.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I keep bringing up, Christian Campbell. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, what do some of these guys on the team do that Christian Campbell can't do? I mean, is it really that much of a deficit at this point? You're seeing Campbell offensively do a lot better over the past maybe 4 to 6 weeks. I just don't understand why the Red Sox didn't want to try to get that bat in the lineup, especially when Anthony went down. It just seems absolutely ridiculous. But, kind of turning the page a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about the bullpen and the struggles of Justin Slaten. This is a guy that in the beginning of this spring training was even looked upon as possibly being the closer on this team because we didn't know what Chapman was going to give us. And we'll get into him a little bit later tonight. But the bottom line is that he has not looked good since he's returned. Today, one bat, he got one out, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, and a walk. This is not the Justin Slaten I saw in April and May, and it's not the Justin Slaten that was here at the end of last season.
Yeah, and I guess in a way you have to be a little patient with him because he really didn't get a full rehab back in play. The Red Sox kind of just brought him up, rushed it, and kind of it is what it is on what he's doing. He's nowhere near healthy. Let's be real on that. He's not. He's trying to find himself again after being down for so long. What I look at here more so is what we've seen in Justin Slaten's career so far. Here's a guy who had a lot of hype, thought a lot of future closer potential. All I see is a guy that can't stay healthy. And that scares the bejesus out of me if we want to put him in a high leverage spot. Outside of Whitlock, your right-handed guy, we don't have many other options for right-handed guys. We all know the Jordan Hicks experiment. That went well, right? Now it's down to Justin Slaten. Justin Slaten right now is basically in the Jordan Hicks role and trying to figure it out. How long will the leash be here? I don't put him in a high leverage situation right now. He needs to find it again, and he is still searching for his location, mechanically trying to get back to early beginnings, maybe of even last season when we saw flashes of dominance. Yes, that word did come out of my mouth. Dominance, because that's what he was at the back end. And there was a lot of excitement on what he was going to be turning into. I'm not saying this is crash and burn and it's done, but I'm at the point where actions speak louder than words. Prove it, let's see it, and let's get back onto a better path.
Well, I mean, the bottom line here is that if you look at the box score, Justin Slaten lost this game for you. If he doesn't get, if he is able to do what he's here to do and minimize damage and not give up, the 2 earned runs, you win this ball game. Thanks to the late inning heroics, by the Red Sox in the 9th by getting that run. So and it kind of puts me into a little bit of a turn now to Aroldis Chapman. And Thayer, I'll start with you with Aroldis. I mean, the guy's been absolutely money this entire season. I even said on the podcast earlier this month that he really should have Cy Young considerations. I know he's not going to, but I mean, he's had probably one of the best seasonal closer campaigns since probably, I'm going to guess it's got to be Koji Urahara and was it 2008 Papelbon?
He has been phenomenal, no doubt about it. And he's one of the reasons, like I said earlier, that they have a chance in the playoffs. There's a legitimate chance that, I'm not saying we're going to win the World Series or something like that, but with, the three starting pitchers that you have, plus you have Whitlock and Chapman in the bullpen, there is a legitimate opportunity to win games and to win series. So today it's a fluke. It was going to happen. You knew it was coming sooner or later. And just another piece to that also is I don't think he came in with his normal routine to set up. I think he didn't start really throwing until they had, gotten going in that ninth inning. So I don't think he was really warmed up the way he usually is. So that could be something to do with it because he didn't look like he had his normal dominant stuff. The splitter wasn't quite working the way it was, and he didn't have that power. So it happens. I'm not worried about this. But kind of like you said, it really comes down to those people setting him up and being able to do what we need to be successful.
Nick, your reactions to Chapman and the bullpen?
Yeah, I can't put much stock into Chapman with this for today. He's coming into a situation that's also a tie game. He's trying to hold it so you can get to the extra innings. This is by no means a save opportunity. He was there to save the game. And I don't put much stock into this because he was in a situation where his normal routine isn't in play from that. He's also human. He was doing unhuman-like things for quite some time. It's inevitable. It was going to happen. I'm glad it happened here. And we chug along and we get back on track. That's all it is. It was a mechanical thing. They'll figure it out. I have 0.0000000 concern over this today. None. This was Justin Slaten. This was poor execution from our lineup. That is what lost you the game. Right there. And anybody that wants to point blame on Aroldis Chapman, go take a walk.
Yeah, no, if you're going to blame Chapman for this game, you need your head examined. That's all there is to it. I mean, the law of probabilities have been absolutely vacant for what Chapman has done this season. So the law of probabilities for this game, I mean, people are going to get hits. It's just it's going to happen. So to go 17 consecutive outings without allowing a hit is just absolutely mind blowing. And we'd have to research when that was done in the past. I want to move around before we, get to the end of our show today, but I want to preview the next series. Obviously, it's on Friday. We will be with you post game on Friday and for this as well. But we have probably one of the three toughest series left. And what I'm saying is I'm counting the Yankee series, I'm counting Toronto and Detroit. Arguably on paper would be what I would say the three toughest left on paper. With that being said, we can be happy that Apple TV Plus is covering the Friday night game, so probably 90% of America won't be able to watch it. But in any event, it's going to be Lucas Giolito against Hill. Brian Bayo gets to start on Saturday against Fried, and then we have Crochet against Huron on Sunday. Thayer, I'll start
one more time.
Huron. You guys ever watch Family Guy? Yeah, yeah. Cool Whip. So in any event, Thayer, I'll start with you. Your predictions for the Yankees series.
We have to win 2 of 3. There's no predicting it. We have to win 2 of 3. We have to win the Crochet game, and we have to win the Giolito game. I think those are crucial wins that they have to have with these three guys. Like I mentioned earlier, they're going to get about 3 more starts each. We have to win at least 2/3 of those games. There's no doubt about it. There's no question to it. Giolito has to get the win today or tomorrow on Friday against Heel. He's got to have that opportunity. And then we have to have Crochet. Bayo, I like Bayo's odds against Fried, but I'm not stupid. I understand that we're going to be facing a left-handed pitcher, and it's very possible we're without Romy. God bless us, we're without Romy Gonzalez. But Romy and Ref Snyder are the two left-handed killers. So I don't hold much stock in that.
Yeah. So, Nick, I'm going to ask you the same question, just kind of like tell it a little bit differently. I think we are fortunate, if you want to look at fortunate, that we've got our 3 best starters going in this series. Nick, how do you think it's going to play out?
I have been going back and forth on this series on what I think is going to go down. And I finally come to the realization that I do think that the Red Sox will take 2 of 3. No, I'm not giving this series to the Yankees. I know some folks think that all I want is for the Red Sox to lose and to tank and all that. I don't. I'm trying to come at this with a realistic approach and see what's happening with the team and where we're at. Romy Gonzalez, if he's not a part of this series, is a colossal blow. It is. And so that's why the game on Saturday scares me a little bit, much like with you, Thayer. On if you don't have that bat up against Max Fried, I don't know if I have that much confidence with the team heading into that game without him. But I will give the upper hand to Friday night's game. I think that the Red Sox can take that. And after what we saw from the bounce back outing from Garrett Crochet, how can you not take Garrett Crochet in that game on Sunday? I give the Red Sox 2 out of 3 in this series. I think it's going to be one of those that defines kind of the rest of the season that we have here. I think it's an important series here to win. And much like with you, Thayer, this is a must take 2 of 3. If you only win one, or heck, you don't win any of these games here, then you're going to go into that territory where I kept on saying that it would be very difficult to see this team get to the playoffs if they can't take care of business in September. September right now still scares me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It does. We have not had great Septembers recently. We had it in 2021 when we got hot that last week of the season. But that last week of the season, I hate to keep beating a dead horse here. You have Toronto and you have Detroit. And that right there is doomsday for me if you can't take series against the Yankees and then also take another series against the A's when they're in town next week. You have to do that. And you also have to take care of business against the Rays. We've had the upper hand against the AL East. I think we said we were, 27-16 this season so far against them? That should mean good things. It should. So that means if you take care of business, you'll be in a good position. So take care of business.
Yeah, it really is as simple as that. Win the games. If you win the games, you don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. That being said, I'm going to tell you what everybody else is doing. Right now, as we broadcast, the Yankees are losing 8-1 to Detroit in the bottom of the 8th. There are 2 outs and a runner on first. In the Toronto and Houston game, Houston is holding on to a 3-2 lead with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, and the Blue Jays are at home. So we got one more out there, and hopefully we have a loss for Toronto there. And it is early, but St. Louis has a 1-0 lead in the top of the first against Seattle. Look, the bottom line here is if the Red Sox could win game 1 with Giolito, I'm going to feel very confident about their ability to win 2 out of 3. I think 2 out of 3 is the goal here. I mean, I've said it on Twitter before. I love to be vengeful. I want to win all of them, but I understand too that things happen. The second game is a little bit of the question mark because they've got Fried going. It really depends on what kind of Brian Bayo you're going to get. So we'll have to see there. Crochet has, I mentioned this on Sunday. I said that he had 4 potential starts left. And Thayer, you have not been on the broadcast, so I want to get your opinion to this. I asked Nick Face and I asked Nick Diamond about this, and they had their takes. Crochet is lined up to start game 1 of that Detroit series on Friday, September 26th. That is the first of the last 3 games. So my question is to you, where do you draw the line on whether or not, and I'm talking basically wins and losses, where do you draw the line on whether or not Crochet should start that game, or you wave the white flag in terms of knowing that you're already in the playoffs and you want to set up your rotation allegedly against the Yankees? Where do you draw the line on Crochet pitching Friday night?
You can't say anything. I can't even think about that right now. You have to make the playoffs. Okay. Well, we say, are we in the playoffs? If we are in the playoffs,
in other words, if they're a couple games out, do you want him pitching in that Friday game to try to get the division?
To try to get the division, I would say yes. If we have a legitimate shot at getting the division, you go for the division because you want no part of the wild card. If it means maintaining the number 1 seed in the wild card, I'd still pitch him. If it's all kind of locked up, I pitch him because he needs to continue on rest. He can't go what would amount to 10 days without pitching. He needs to throw, but you kind of give him the Tolle. Here you go. Give me 2 innings. We'll get you warm. We'll get you loose. Don't do too much, and then we'll have you ready for the first game. But we're not in a space to do that. What I fear is, to Nick's point, I'm confident they're going to make the playoffs because of those first 3 pitchers. But at the same time, this has got a lot of 2011 sort of written all over it, where, down the stretch, you saw Lester falter a little bit. You saw Buchholz falter a little bit. And when they lost their games, then you had, it was that Weber kid. Remember that we were throwing that Weber kid every 5th game, and basically he couldn't break a pane of glass if he threw? The pressure was always on that kid. If God forbid we lose this series, if we lose 2 out of 3, or worse, 3 out of all 3 games, then you have immense pressure on Tolle and this Connolly early kid coming out on those next 2 games. Yeah. Which now it all starts, and this is a team that is so emotional. We've talked about it before. That they feel like their leader is Duran, and he is an emotional cat, positively and negatively. And when stuff starts to, you can see him like clench and tighten up. And if that's the person who's leading your team, that's what's going to start to happen. And that's where I think they make it. But Nick, you could really be on the right track here. If they blow this series this weekend, then I can legitimately see that, the tightening of their muscles, the brain starting to function at far too quickly, and more starts like we saw out of Tolle. You're going to see more stupidity coming out of these guys because they're all going to try to hit grand slams with nobody on base.
Listen, the 2011 team and this team, at least to me, 2011 team had much more talent than this crew right now. Let's make sure that's on record. I see some similarities in like a Garrett Crochet versus a John Lester. We saw John Lester get a little tired down the stretch in September. Still was our leader of that staff. Josh Beckett was an absolute mess. Josh Beckett was one of the colossal players on the reason we did not get in. And that's what scares me with Lucas Giolito, because he's on the verge right now, especially in that Diamondbacks series, when we saw him throw, of a tired guy that's in an unknown territory on what the heck's going to happen with him down the stretch. You can say Brian Bayo's got a little bit of Clay Buchholz to him, where he has the dominance, but then the wheels can fall off at any point. Our bullpen, Justin Slaten. I look at Daniel Bard. Daniel Bard imploded in September. Imploded. And then, Papelbon kind of did his thing. I know he was the last guy standing when that whole series went down in in flames, basically in Baltimore. I'll never forget it. Carl Crawford still should have made that catch.
Yep.
And they had a lot of mental mistakes on that team too. Carl Crawford and Jarren Duran, there's a little bit of that where the pressure gets to them, and you can see it in their play all the time. They had a lot of different cast-offs that were inserted into this team to try and save the season. I'll never forget Ryan Lavarnway was up to try and save the catching position of this season. And then we all know what happened from there. Theo Epstein's gone. Terry Francona's gone. It was like the last dance, the last hurrah that was there. And it's a very painful memory for me, much like with you guys as well. And I think why I remember it so vividly is because of how mad I was about how talented this team was and how hyped it was, and that disaster of a September. Always I look at things differently now because of what happened from that season.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of good points. I mean, remember that was the year that Theo brought in Bobby Jenks too, who recently passed away. And that was supposed to be your eighth inning guy, I think, at that point. And it was like they were calling it the super team, weren't they? Like, I mean, there was talk that they were going to win over 100 ball games, like in their sleep, and it just didn't happen. So there are a lot of similarities here. Look, I want to leave everybody with a couple things based on the schedule. I said this earlier this week in the podcast that I said, they're going to get in. I'm more than confident they're going to get in, but they're going to get in spite of themselves, like I said earlier today. I've posed a question to everybody about the crochet game against Detroit. Here's how I look at that. If 90 wins gets us in the postseason, okay, that's 15 per month. You're at 81. You need 9 victories out of the remaining 14 that you have. Crochet goes in 3. So that leaves you 6 ball games that you need to find victories. Okay, so if you pick up 1 in New York extra, 1 in the Athletic Series, Tampa Bay, Toronto, I mean, you're right there. So that's what they need to do. Another interesting thing here is looking on ESPN's website for the probables. We do have Giolito, Bayo, and Crochet. There is no starter listed for Tuesday, the first game against the Athletics. Game 2, Tolle is listed, and then Giolito's listed. No starters outside of Springs in game 1 for the Athletics. So I'm wondering if Early's going to get another start against the Athletics. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't, but that's an interesting thing that he is not penciled in already as a starter for that series. So
I just find it baffling. It's baffling that you would give Tolle a start already from the probables that is there over Early.
Right.
Early deserves another opportunity, 100%. I don't care what his innings max is. I don't care what his pitch count is. Get him back out there.
Right. And so the only other thing I can think about is that are the Red Sox going to offer that spot to Harrison? I don't know. Right now, there's been too much speculation about Harrison being a quality pitcher at this point. We had a very good outing from him today in the bullpen. Maybe you don't mess with that. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But let's hope for 2 out of 3 against the Yankee series, maybe a sweep. But 2 out of 3, I'll be pleased. And that'll be good. Any other final takes from either Thayer or Nick tonight?
I just think they have to lean on the veterans. It's going to come up to that, and they have to do the little things. They cannot afford to get behind. They can't afford to give up runs. And the other piece of that is we're getting paranoid because we're Red Sox fans. Remember what we saw the Yankees do in front of our own eyes. They are capable of doing the very same thing. So what's important is to play the game correctly and let the Yankees implode. Put the pressure on them, because it is as much pressure as we feel, they're feeling the same thing, because they're the team that was in the World Series last year. And what did they do? They lost Soto. I got that, but they added Fried. They added a star pitcher. They came back with Bellinger. They brought back Goldschmidt. So they lost Soto, but ultimately they improved their team. They had the massive trade deadline. There's a lot of pressure on that team to do sort of that repeat aspect to get to the World Series. The Red Sox didn't have that initial pressure where the Yankees did. So we have to remember that this team, they're as tight as we are. So allow them to make those mistakes that we saw. Allow them to be the choking dogs that they were. And hopefully, we can take advantage of that and move forward.
Nick, any final thoughts?
I think you're 100% right on what you said on just watching a team like the Yankees with the amount of mistakes and mental issues that they have could actually be worse than the Red Sox. And a lot of it is because we see this team on a day-by-day, night-by-night basis. We just do. But I think overall the Yankees have a worse put-together roster than the Red Sox do right now. And that is stunning for even me to have to say that. But it just is. I think if we had Yankee fans right now on our pod, I think they would take the Red Sox roster overall than their club they have right now. Obviously, with the couple exceptions of Aaron Judge, Max Fried, just to name a few. But other than that, I think the Red Sox are overall a better put together top to bottom team than the Yankees. So let's hope they do kick the.
Yeah,
they are managed better. I will say that 100% managed better.
That's the key. I think both teams are lacking a lot of baseball IQ, but the difference is the Red Sox have an incredibly. We talk about them having a bunch of athletes. They are a far more athletic team that can beat you in more than one way. We can hit a few home runs, but we can run the bases. The Yankees are not capable of that. So that's where that idea of putting the pressure on and allowing them to make mistakes, that's where I think our advantage is.
The other advantage is Aaron Boone is the gift that keeps on giving. So let's hope that he keeps on giving.
And they don't have the greatest infield either. But you know what? This isn't your '90s New York Yankees anymore. This isn't George's Yankees. I mean, if the old man George Steinbrenner was still alive, you wouldn't be seeing what you're seeing with this team now because that motivation, he wanted to win. Guys like Larry Lucchino, they're precious because they understood and they took it to a whole new level that we didn't appreciate. I mean, we did, but the idea is when they're gone, you don't see it anymore. He's a skeleton compared to what George would be. Just to let you know, finally, it is a final in Toronto. Houston wins, so that does leave the Yankees at 2.5 out, the Red Sox at 3. And make no mistake, guys, I'll leave you with this. You do business against the Yankees, and I don't know, the rest of their schedule. Wouldn't it be something if the Yankees actually are bounced from the playoffs? How nice would that be?
It's possible.
Yep. I mean, I rule out nothing at this point. So I'd like to thank Thayer and Nick for being on tonight, and I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners as well. We do this for you guys, and please go ahead and if you do not subscribe yet to our website, go to RedSoxDigest.com, RedSoxDigest.com, and get a free subscription there. I pretty much write articles just about every day in regards to the game from the day before. They're still working on Fenway Flashback as well. It's a great read on the 1975 Boston Red Sox team. We will be with you again Friday night after Game 1 of the Yankee series. We're also scheduled to be on Saturday, and we will be on Sunday. So we should cover all these games. We'll see about how next week is. Maybe we can cover a little bit more as well since we're getting towards the end of the line. But with that being said, I'm going to call it for tonight. Everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you on Friday.